A warm good evening to everyone. Welcome to lecture series. A warm good evening to everyone. Welcome to lecture series on day two on role of cement and supplementary cementitious material and production of environment friendly concrete. Way forward towards sustainability. So it's my privilege to introduce the speaker of this session, Miss Priyanka.
Speaker this section, Ms.
Ms.
Priyanka.
Priyanka ma'am has completed his BTech from Venkataraw College of Engineering and Technology, Tenali, Guntur, and she completed her MTech in Structural Engineering from Vignan University, Andhra Pradesh. And currently she is pursuing PhD in Vignan
And
University.
currently she is pursuing PhD in
She is having 2 years of teaching experience as assistant professor in Department of Civil Engineering in NVR College of Engineering and Technology, Andhra Pradesh. And coming to our area of interest is in sustainable building materials such as replacement of industrial byproducts in the lightweight concrete. Her major research interest is on strength, durability, and microstructural behavior of geopolymer aggregate-based concrete. She has published 4 research papers in international journals from Springer, presented research papers in 2 national and 3 international. So this is a brief introduction on ma'am. So I request Priyanka ma'am to continue the session.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the lecture section. I am Mukkala Priyanka, doing research in Vignan University in the Department of Civil Engineering. Now I am going to discuss a topic on influence of aggregates on concrete. These are the contents involved in the presentation. Coming to the aggregates are the important constituents in concrete. They give body to the concrete. It will reduce shrinkage and affect economy. Earlier, aggregates were considered as chemically inert materials. But now, it has been recognized that some of the aggregates are chemically active, and also that certain aggregates exhibits chemical bond at the interface of the aggregate and paste phase. In general, the aggregate occupies 70 to 80% of the volume of concrete. So the impact of aggregate characteristics on properties of concrete will be a considerable factor, right? Due to this reason, we shall now study the aggregates and their properties. Before going to learn the properties, just we have divided we have classified aggregates based on different zones. See here, aggregates are classified on differently on the basis of these following: classification based on formation, classification based on source, classification based on size, classification based on shape, and finally classification based on density. Based on formation, aggregates are classified into 2 types: natural aggregates and artificial aggregates. Natural aggregates consist of rock fragments that are used in their natural state or used after mechanical processing such as crushing, washing, and sizing. Some natural aggregates deposit consists of gravel and sand. They can be readily used in concrete with minimal processing. These are general about natural aggregates. In general, crushed stone aggregates are particularly suitable for use in the concrete. Sand, gravel, crushed rocks like granite, quartz, basalt. These are the examples for natural aggregates. Coming to the artificial aggregates are made out of various industrial byproducts. We have different industrial byproducts like fly ash, ZZBS, rice husk, etc. These artificial aggregates are made out of these industrial byproducts. These artificial aggregates are produced for mainly for special concretes, either for making lightweight concrete or for making heavyweight concretes. For example, in making lightweight concrete, we will use burned clays, artificial cinders, expanded slates, sintered fly ash. These are the examples for artificial aggregates. These are used in lightweight concrete. In heavyweight concrete, steel rivet punches, iron extracts extract from iron ores. These are used for heavyweight concretes. This is the classification based on formation. Coming to the classification of aggregates based on source. Almost all natural aggregate materials originated from bedrocks. These are three kinds of rocks, namely igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Coming to the igneous rocks are formed by cooling of molten lava. Most igneous rocks make highly satisfactory concrete aggregates because they are normally hard, tough, and dense. Granite aggregates are the examples of igneous rocks. Coming to the sedimentary rocks, these are formed originally below the seabed and subsequently lifted up. The quality of aggregates derived from sedimentary rocks will vary in quality depending upon the cementitious materials and also the pressure under which these rocks are originally compacted. Based on these two types, the quality of aggregates will vary. Examples for the sedimentary rocks based aggregates are sandstones, limestones. Coming to the metamorphic rocks, these rocks are originally either igneous or maybe sedimentary rocks, which are subsequently metamorphed due to extreme heat and pressure. These type of rock shows a foliated structure. The thickness of these foliation may vary from few centimeters to many meters. Marble, slate aggregates are the examples of metamorphic rocks. Coming to the next classification based on size. In general, the largest particle size in the aggregates may have a diameter as large as 150 mm. Same as the smallest particle can be as fine as 5 to 10 microns. So, the aggregates will start from 5 to 10 microns to 150 mm. All of those aggregates are classified according to their particles into one coarse aggregate and fine aggregates. Aggregate particles that are retained on 4.75 mm sieve. Aggregate particles that are retained on 4.75 mm sieve are considered as coarse aggregate. Most commonly used coarse aggregates are crushed stone, gravel, broken pieces. We can clearly see in the picture. Same as coming to the fine aggregates, aggregate particles that pass 4.75 mm sieve comes under fine aggregates. Most commonly used fine aggregates are sand and crushed stone powder. However, sometimes suki and ash cinders also used. Coming to the next classification of aggregates based on shape. The shape of aggregates is an important characteristic since it affects the workability of concrete. So we have 4 types of aggregates based on shape: rounded, irregular, angular, and flaky. These rounded aggregates are formed by attrition, and irregular aggregates and angular aggregates. These both are formed by crushing natural aggregates, and these irregular aggregates, they are partly shaped by attrition also. So some of round edges also present in the irregular type of aggregates. But in angular type of aggregates, they will possess a well-defined edges formed at the intersection of roughly planar faces. Coming to the flaky type of aggregates, these are usually an angular aggregates, but the thickness is very small relative to the width or length. Our next classification is based on density. Another variability in aggregates is density. Based on unit weight and based on specific gravity, these aggregates are classified as lightweight, normal weight, and heavyweight aggregates. Coming to fine aggregate and coarse aggregate, if those are giving less than 2.4 specific gravity, they will considered under lightweight aggregates. Same as if it gives bulk density less than 880 kg per meter cube for coarse aggregate, they will come under lightweight aggregate. Examples are expanded perlite, leca, burned clay. These all comes under lightweight aggregates. These will be used. The applications of these lightweight aggregates are we can cast a structural lightweight concrete, and we can use these aggregates in masonry units. In some cases, for insulating purpose also, these aggregates will be useful. Coming to the normal weight aggregates, the average values of specific gravity for fine aggregates is 2.6 and 2.65. Coming to the coarse aggregate, the bulk density should be 1520 to 1680 kg per meter cube. Then we will consider that aggregates are normal weight aggregates. Crushed stones are examples for these normal weight aggregates. We will use normal concrete projects. Coming to the heavyweight aggregates, heavyweight aggregate shows specific gravity more than 4, and the unit weight of heavyweight concrete varies from 2500 kg per meter cube. And we can cast the applications or radiation shielding. For examples of this type of aggregates are steel pellets or steel shots. We can use these type of aggregates in heavyweight concretes. These are classification of aggregates. If you want to use aggregate in the construction or in road construction or in general residential construction anywhere, it has to possess some good qualities. Those are, it must be clean, it should be free from lumps, it should be free from organic materials, it should be strong, and it should be durable. It should not react with cement after mixing. It should have rough surface. It should not absorb water more than 5%. It should not be soft and porous. It should be chemically inert. It should be of limiting porosity. It should preferably be a cubical or spherical in shape. It means no elongated or flaky aggregate. We won't use those type of aggregates in a construction. Every aggregate should possess some properties, they have some properties like size, shape, strength, surface structure, specific gravity, bulk density, water absorption, soundness, likewise. Coming to the gradation of aggregate, gradation describes the particle size distribution of the aggregate. Large aggregates are economically advantageous in Portland cement as they have less surface area and therefore require less binder. However, large aggregate mixes are harsher and more difficult to work into place. Hence, based on this difference, we have to consider a limit to the maximum aggregate size. Though large aggregates are economically advantageous and give more strength, but these mixes, large aggregate mixes, are harsher and more difficult to work. So we have to minimize the aggregate size based on our requirement. That is why we have to go for gradation. The aggregates used for making concrete are normally of maximum size 80 mm. From 80 mm to 40 mm, 20 mm, 10 mm, 4.75 mm, 2.36 mm, 600 microns, 300 microns, and 150 microns. Likewise, we have different sizes of aggregates. So we have to, the sample of dry aggregate of known weight is separated through these series of sheets. I have already mentioned in the slide. Starting from 80 mm size, we have 150 micron sheets up to. By using these sieves, we have to separate these dry aggregate samples. After separation, the weight of particles retained on each sieve is measured and compared to the total sample weight. Particle size distribution is then expressed as percentage retained by weight on each sieve size. Particle size distribution is expressed as percentage retained by weight on each sieve size. Usually, these results are expressed in graphical format also. Next one is fineness modulus of aggregates. Fineness modulus is used to determining the degree of uniformity of the aggregate. It is an empirical number relating to the fineness of aggregate. The higher fineness modulus is, the coarser the aggregate. If fineness modulus is more, we won't use it in the construction. In the slide, we have a limits. In fine aggregate, again, 3 classifications are there: fine sand, medium sand, and coarse sand. So if we calculate these fineness modulus, if it is greater than 3.2 for fine aggregate, we won't use that for any constructions. In place of coarse aggregates, if it is more than 7.1, we won't use those aggregates for the construction. To find out the fineness modulus, we have a formula. It is summation of cumulative percentages retained on the specified sieves. We have before this in the previous slide we have discussed about the sieving. After sieving, we will collect all the retained percentages of each sieve. By calculating the cumulative percentage retained on specified sieve, we have to sum up all the values, and fineness modulus is the sum of cumulative percentage retained on the specified sieves by 100. Next. So likewise, fine aggregates have some properties. So we have to test the properties to utilize those fine aggregate or coarse aggregate in the concrete. So first one is bulking. Fine aggregates will show a property of bulking. So if we allow it in the construction or in the mixing, the volume will change, then shrinkage will occur. So we have to find out the bulking nature of the fine aggregate. To find out, first a sample of fine aggregate is filled into measuring cylinder just like a normal. We have to note down that level as that height as H1. Pour some water into the measuring cylinder and completely close that cylinder and shake it well, since the volume of saturated sand is the same as previously. And note down the level as H2. Then the difference will come. Then H1 minus H2 shows the bulking of the sand. The percentage of bulking is calculated by H1 minus H2 divided by H2 into 100. This, if you observe in the graph, the bulking is more in fine grading sands and it is somewhere less in medium grading, and it is totally low at coarse grading sands. Based on the size also this bulking varies. Then water absorption test on fine aggregates. The water absorption of aggregate is determined by measuring the increase in weight of an oven dry sample when immersed in water for 24 hours. First, whatever the sample we have taken, keep in the oven up to 24 hours. The ratio of increase in weight to the weight of the dry sample expressed as percentage, and it is known as absorption of aggregates. We can easily calculate by using formula W2 by W1 into 100. W2 is the weight of wet sand and W1 is the weight of oven dry sand. You'll get a water absorption percentage. Next is specific gravity. To calculate the specific gravity, I will use pycnometer. It is visible in the slide. The bottle is known as specific gravity bottle or pike. First, we have to take the weight of vessel containing sample and first we have to take a weight of vessel containing sample and filled with distilled water. Here we have a formula D by C minus A minus B will give the specific gravity, where A is weight in grams. It contains weight of sample and filled with distilled water, and B is weight in grams. Vessel filled with distilled water only. C is weight in saturated surface dry sample, and D is weight in oven dry sample. These are the tests on fine aggregates. Same as we have different types of tests on coarse aggregate also. Coming to the tests on coarse aggregate, bulk density, specific gravity, water absorption, crushing test, impact test, abrasion test, attrition test, and shape test. Likewise, we have different types of tests. Okay. We can calculate density in a very easy manner. Take a container of known volume and fill the aggregates in a, up to the level and measure the weight of that bulk density. We will get bulk density by that weight by volume. And second one is specific gravity. Same as for fine aggregate, we will calculate specific gravity. The specific gravity of aggregates in normal, we will use 2.523. The average value is 2.68. Same as for water absorption, the aggregate should absorb water less than 5%. Coming to the next test, crushing value of aggregate. The aggregate crushing value provides a relative measure of resistance to crushing under a gradually applied compressive load. We need apparatus. We have shown in a figure. One C is cylinder with open ends and cylinder measure having internal diameter of 11.5 centimeter and height of 18 centimeter. Steel rod for compacting, balance, and we need a compression testing machine for this. The procedure is the aggregate passing 12.5 mm IS sieve and retained on 10 mm IS sieve is selected for standard test. The aggregate should be in a surface dry condition before testing. To make surface dry, the aggregates are kept under an oven at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius for a period of 4 hours. This cylindrical measure is filled by the test sample of aggregate in 3 layers of approximately equal depth, each layer being tamped 25 times by the rounded end of the tamping rod. Cylindrical measure is leveled off by using tamping rod as a straight edge. After that, the cylinder with the test sample with the help of plunger, we have to place that in compression testing machine. Load is applied through the plunger. It reaches 40 tons. And then the load is released. The aggregates, including the crushed portion, are removed from the cylinder and are sieved on 2.36 mm IS sieve. The material which passes this sieve is collected and we will calculate the aggregate crushing value as W2 by W1 into 100, where W1 is weight of fraction passing through the appropriate sieve, and W1 is weight of surface dry sample. And the next test is impact value of aggregates. I'll give a range for 4 tests commonly. For impact values, to measure the toughness property of the material, we'll do this test. Toughness is the property of material to resist sudden loads. So, the aggregate impact value indicates a relative measure of the resistance of aggregates to sudden shock of an impact, which in some aggregates differs from its resistance to slow compressive loads also. The test procedure will start same as for previous test. The test sample consists of aggregates passing 12.5 mm IS sieve and retained on 10 mm IS sieve and dried in an oven for 4 hours at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius and tapped and cooled. The aggregates are filled up to 1/3 full in the cylindrical measure and tapped 25 times the rounded end of the tamping rod. The procedure is same as for impact test and crushing value. After placing this sample under the impact testing machine, the hammer is raised until the lower face is 38 centimeters above the surface. So, after raising the hammer, the distance between the hammer and the sample should be of 38 centimeters, and then allow the hammer fall freely on the aggregates. The test sample is subjected to a total of 15 such blows. So we have to give 15 blows. Likewise, for each blow, we have to raise this handle up to 38 centimeters height, and we have to leave it freely on the aggregates. Same as the crushed aggregates is then removed from the cup, and the whole is sieved under 2.36 mm sieve until no further significant amount is passed. This aggregate impact value will be calculated by using formula W2 by W1 into 100. The W2 is the weight of fraction passing 2.36 mm IS sieve, and W1 is weight of oven dried sample. And the next one is abrasion value. We will use loss angle abrasion test to find out the percentage wear. Abrasion means resistance of wear relative to aggregates and other materials. We will use steel balls as an abrasive charge here. Here also we will clean the aggregate sample and dry it at 4 hours at a temperature of 105 degrees to 110 degrees Celsius. We will keep depend. In this, it will take 500 revolutions same as at the calculation also. The difference between the original weight of aggregates and weight of aggregates retained on 1.7 mm sieve will take, and the percentage is calculated using formula W2 by W1, where W2 is weight of aggregates taken, weight of aggregate retained on 1.7 mm sieve, and W1 is weight of initial aggregates. In the attrition test also we will follow the same procedure, but attrition means rubbing action of resistance to wear or resistance to rubbing action, but it will with the same material. It will measure the rubbing action between aggregate and aggregate only. That is the difference between abrasion and attrition. In abrasion, we will calculate the resistance of wear between the aggregate and some other materials like steel and all. In the attrition, we will calculate rubbing action between the two aggregates. The procedure is same as here also. We will calculate the percentage using formula W2 by W1 into 100, where W1 is original weight of the sample and W2 is weight of material retained on 1.7 mm sieve. After doing test, elongation test. Elongation index, flakiness index and angularity index are shape tests. Elongation index is defined as the percentage by weight of particles whose greatest dimension is greater than 1/4 times of their mean dimensions. The elongation test is not applicable to the smaller sizes less than 6.3 mm. The equipment is shown in the figure. The sample is sieved through the sieves of each sieve, and minimum we have to take 200 pieces of each fraction to test, and weight should be taken after passing each size. To find the total weight, the pieces of aggregates from each fraction tested which could not pass through the specified gauge lengths. It have a gauge length. If you observe the picture, we can note these pieces of aggregates from each fraction should not pass through the specified gauge length, and we have to weigh that samples, and after that we have to calculate this elongation index x1 plus x2 by and sum of x by sigma x by sigma w into 100. They are coming to the sigma w, total weights of each size of aggregates taken before the test, and x1 x2 are the weights of material retained on each length gauges. The same process will do at flakiness index also. Here we will take the amount of material passing through the different gauge lengths. In elongation test, we will take whatever the retained aggregates, we will weight that aggregates, and we will take that aggregates as x1, x2, x3. In this test, we will take that as x1, x2, x3, and flakiness index is sigma x by sigma w into 100. Same as we'll calculate the angularity index also. In case aggregates larger than 20 mm sieve, we'll use this test, and the volume of cylinder we have to take is should be greater than 3 liters. The sample of single size aggregates retained between the specified pair of sieves is dried in an oven at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius for 24 hours, and we have to cool it in an airtight container. After that, the aggregates, we have to fill the aggregates in that cylinder in a 5 layers. For each layer, we have to give 100 blows. And we have to measure the weight of those aggregates. And we have to take a weight of water filled in that cylinder. And the angularity member is calculated using the formula 67 minus 100 into W by Cg, where W is mean weight of aggregates in the cylinder, C is weight of water required to fill the cylinder, and G is specific gravity of the cylinder. We can use aggregates having angularity number of 0 to 11. We can use aggregates of this range in the construction. So each property is influencing the strength of aggregate in any manner. For example, grading. Coming to the grading, maximum size of aggregates are giving more strength, and they are giving more strength, but when compared to the other sizes, it is giving less workability. Same as coming to the shape and texture also. Shape and texture also affecting the workability of the concrete. If they are smooth texture is there, and if they are in round shape, they will give good workability. But they can give good bonding. So based on our purpose and based on our considerations, we have to select the types of aggregates. And same as the density also, lightweight aggregates will give less strength compared to the normal conventional aggregates, but they will give less density also. Comparing to density to strength ratio, they will be a better. Same as some special aggregates are also there. Those are broken bricks. We have already classified in the formation in artificial aggregates. All these comes under artificial aggregates. We will also call as special aggregates. These are broken bricks, air-cooled slag, sintered fly ash. In this way only, I am doing research on geopolymer aggregates. I am using geopolymer technique in the preparation of aggregates, and I'll use geopolymer solution in place of water, and I'll use industrial byproducts of fly ash and GGBS for the production of these aggregates. I have used pelletization process, and after preparation of after formation of pellets, I'll keep in ambient curing and oven curing. I have done research on this type of aggregates. These are the aggregates I have prepared, and same the tests I have done for these aggregates also. I have done the gradation and all the properties, crushing value, impact value, water absorption. I have done all the tests. Same as I have used those aggregates in our in conventional concrete. I have used geopolymer aggregates in conventional concrete. I have done some tests also. You can see, same as durability wise also they are giving very good results. So nowadays construction works are going very increasingly to avoid the developing special aggregates is the best alternative to reduce environmental effect of excavation of aggregates. Actually, you'll get aggregates from a non-renewable resources like hills. Get them into some process like washing, crushing. Likewise, you'll get some mechanical processing, and we will use those as aggregates. There are many environmental effects of the excavation of aggregates, and the another disadvantage of natural aggregates is it is a non-renewable resources. So these special aggregates can become they comes under sustainable building materials, and we can use industrial byproducts like fly ash, GGBS in the production of these aggregates, and we can save the environment by utilizing the byproducts of industries also. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Priyanka madam. Thank you for your informative lecture, and